doing good during lockdown, during quarantine. Another difficult week, I suppose it's been, but we keep going. We saying, Rants, you good?
Yeah. I'm good, bro. Can't complain, man. It's another one. More the same, innit? More the same.
For real, that's it, man. Quite a lot to talk about, man. I know a lot of you guys saw the comments from Paul Ince yesterday. It was a Paddy Power article. I think it came out yesterday or maybe the day before, but I saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
And let's touch on some of the quotes. Actually, you guys have your say in the channel, and this is not just because we know Rants obviously supports Pogba and stuff like that, but just to bring you guys into it in the comments as well. Let us know what you thought about what Paul Ince had to say. If some of you missed it, I'll read you some quotes. Ultimately, he's a distraction and his behavior impacts and damages the rest of the team. If he was performing out of his skin every week and changing games, you could forgive him for his behavior, even when he's been a nightmare, but he isn't, so why bother? He's not performing, so just let him go, get rid. And the headline of it was, if Ollie wants to take Man United forward, he needs to get rid of Pogba. So that is the gist of the article. Roy Keane's been there. Paul Ince has been there, done this before. He did it when Jose was there. He's always been talking about Pogba. He's wanted him to go for a very long time. I'm not going to ask you, do you agree with him? Because I think that's a stupid question to ask you. But where do you sit on what he was saying?
I think Paul Ince is an arse, innit? Honestly, and you know what it is? You see loads of people...
And keep it tamed. Don't get us shut off. Keep it tamed.
No, because you know what it is? A lot of people say, Pogba should speak to his agent about this, that, and the other. Bro, Ollie needs to chat to some of his friends, innit? Because some of the crap that comes out of their mouth, and it keeps coming out of their mouth, it's laughable, innit? I don't even know why Paul Ince is still writing articles about Manchester United anyway, because as far as I'm concerned, as soon as he put on that Liverpool shirt, bruv, like, my man got erased from history for me. So I don't even know why man's still talking, innit? Like, nobody cares about his opinion. Like, nobody cares. And he just keeps trying to keep himself relevant by any means, just by talking rubbish. Anything to do with Manchester United, he's getting involved in, bro. Go talk about Liverpool, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to hear Paul Ince. Like, nobody wants to hear it. Like, Matteo Darmian's come out the other day actually saying that when he was at Manchester United, he didn't see Pogba anything but happy, and he was so happy about his decision to come back. All these players are saying how happy Pogba is, how good he is to have around, even the manager. But then all these ex-players that have never met the guy are coming out with these informed opinions from where? Out their ass. That's where they're finding them, innit? And that's where Paul Ince has found this one. He's an idiot. I mean, it's
weird. It is weird because, look, Ollie, regardless of what anyone thinks about Paul Pogba, whatever the reactions are, Ollie rates him. Ollie has always been clear from the start that he's a player that you build a team around. We're looking to build a team around him. We want to build a team around him. He's world class. He's this, he's that. Nothing but praise, especially when he doesn't have to. I think because you know exactly what you're coming from with him. But with the Paul Ince thing, it does seem like it's a bit bitter. It's like, I don't understand why he's always got something to say on a negative. I don't get it. I mean, in the same article, he goes on to say that Bruno has basically sat Pogba down. That's just how I interpreted it in terms of he's shown him how to hit the ground running. Bruno is everything that Pogba should be. He's basically saying that, and Bruno's only been in since January. I was just like, I don't really understand this.
Bruno's played 5 Premier League games, and 4 of them were in his natural position. One of them he played in the double pivot, and he couldn't really influence the game, even though Pogba's been influencing the game from there anyway, even though he don't play there. Like, literally, Pogba is the single reason why Ollie got this job in the first place. People seem to forget that. The run of form that Pogba went on when he was playing in a more advanced position when Ollie first came in literally got him the job. Literally. Paul Pogba ended up top scorer in the team from midfield. And people are trying to compare 5 games of Bruno Fernandes, bro. Like, football fans, have the shortest memories ever, bro. Like, it does my nothing, bro. And, like, I shouldn't have to be defending, a world-class, one of the best midfielders on the planet, World Cup winning midfielder. But a lot of people don't have sense, bro. So I find myself doing it a lot. And it's boring, bro.
It is boring. Southpaw Love Sports says, who gives a toss what Ince has to say? Give him a miss and move on. And somebody else says, it's Pogba again. It's getting him. Do you know what it is? It's like, look, as a channel, we're always going to talk about the latest news that's coming out and the latest biggest topics. And it's true, whether Pogba's been injured. Last time he played was Boxing Day. He ain't even kicked a ball this year. And it's like, whether it's Paddy Power or whoever, the headlines always go back to him because people always have something to say. It goes back to what Pogba was saying in his podcast with United. Like, people always have something to say about me. They're always going to talk, etc., etc. And we didn't want to spend too much on this, but we had to talk about it in terms of it was out there. Obviously, a key figure, whether you rate Paul Ince or not, he's a key figure in the football world, and he's had some interesting comments to say about it. And it just, I just don't understand it. I think, yes, you can question some of the things and the way Pogba's acted. I've done that, but in terms of his footballing ability and is he going to make us better, and Bruno being better than him and stuff like this already, I'm just like,
Yeah,
are we seriously doing this? Are we seriously doing this?
Though, innit? Because remember when Ollie first came in and he was like, all right, anyone can do what Ollie's doing, and he was saying Ollie. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, if Ollie wants to do this, then he needs to do. Bro, Ollie don't need your advice, innit? Like, Ollie don't need your advice in management, bro. Send me your CV now, bro. What have you done?
I mean, look how many times he's been sacked.
Bro, what have you done, fam? Do you know what I'm saying? Since we're here, put your CV on the table. You know, like that. But like, Souness, you ain't done, you get me? That's what it is. You can't even make a Sky Sports pundit, bro. Like, this is what we're doing now. You're an ex-footballer, man's played in Serie A and done all these, bro, and you can't even get a Sky Sports job, bro. And you're giving your little 2 pence. Nobody cares what you think, or else man would be on Sky, bro. That's how we. That's how.
Or they'll be on Sky.
Or you'll be on BT, blood. You ain't nowhere, fam. You ain't nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Bruv, no one cares what Paul Ince thinks, bruv. No one. No one. You know what I'm saying, man? You know what I'm saying? He's got a youth that's kicking ball. Worry about him, bruv. Because right now, no one don't care what Paul Ince is saying, bruv. Not about Manchester United and not against about Paul Pogba. Do you know what I mean? Go talk about one of your other old clubs, bruv, or one of the ones you got sacked from, blood. Because that's where I am with Paul Ince. He's a fool, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? He's John Barnes 2.0, bruv. He's like Baby Barnes and that. Them man there, bruv. Nobody cares what them man are saying right
now. It's look as you know, this isn't about these guys as footballers. You know, Paul Ince as a footballer obviously was a good player, but you know, since then it does look very bitter. It does look like he's just out to kind of go against the grain. I just don't get it.
Look how he left the club, bro. He's been bitter ever since, bro. There's a bit of Roy Keane about that as well. Roy Keane's mad bitter the way he got dashed out of the club, and you can tell that any opportunity he has to kind of kick someone when they're down, he'll do it. Keane does it. Ince definitely does it. Look at the way you got jettisoned, bro. Do you know what I mean? And did we miss you? Not really, bro. Do you know what I mean? It happens, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Football's like that. And Sir Alex Ferguson was ruthless when he got rid of players.
Yeah, it's true. And it doesn't help that obviously his managerial kind of CV after that was so poor. Obviously, MK Dons, Blackburn, Notts County, flipping, was it Macclesfield, Blackpool? I remember him being that as well.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
No, I'm saying you're talking about how to manage Paul Pogba, bruv. You know what I mean? You couldn't even manage flipping Phil Smith from flipping wherever, bruv. Get out of here, man.
Yeah. Thanks for the contribution from Mahmood. He says players like Darmian and Bruno, Rashford, Martial talk highly of Pogba, but these dusted players like Souness and Ince think he's toxic in the dressing room. It's true. And look, at the end of the day, yeah, we can always, everyone's going to put their 10 pence in because we're going to move away from the Pogba thing. I don't want to talk about it too long, but everyone's going to put their 10 pence in. But when you speak to the players, when you hear about how players speak of Pogba, when you hear about how managers speak of Pogba, when I firsthand spoke to people in the media who have dealt with Pogba, all you ever hear is positive shit.
Yeah,
that's all you ever hear.
As a player and as a person, that's all you hear is positivity. Do you know what I mean? And the same thing was going on with Raheem Sterling, bro, when there was agendas against, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Everyone that knows him personally, do you know what I mean? He's from down the road from me, bro. The guy's the coolest guy. Don't have too much to say. Good spirit, everything. They're trying to make him out to be some bad man that he's not. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what the media agendas do, bro. That's what they do. You know what I mean? And then people run with it.
Yeah.
People run with it.
I want to talk about Dean Henderson now, guys, and you guys in the comments get involved as well. Make sure you do. Smash a like on the video if you haven't already, and thanks for the contributions as well. Dean Henderson's a weird one because we'll get to the bit of Project Restart and Football Restart. I know we touched on it last week, but there's been more development since me and you last spoke about it, so we'll talk about that. But let's say hypothetically, football hasn't come back by June the 30th or is about to come back by then. And yes, there's going to have to be contracts to be sorted out because Dean Henderson's on loan at Sheffield United, and his loan is due to finish June the 30th. Yeah. I was reading an article that's basically saying that it will have to go down to the parent clubs to decide how long or if these contracts are extended, obviously for the rest of the part of the season. And it was basically saying that Man United could face a moral dilemma of saying, okay, we're going up against Sheffield United for 8 games, 9 games for that Champions League spot. Let's take Henderson back, so that they're not obviously going to be as good, have a good as keeper. Yeah. Versus that's just unfair and unsportsmanlike. Let's act like a big club, and how it is how it is. Allowed it, and it's not fair on Dean Henderson as well. It's come all that way. Do you think that's a moral dilemma for United, or is there one clear, easy answer for you?
I don't think it's a moral dilemma, because I feel like if the Football League does come back, it has to come back as it was, or else it shouldn't come back at all. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Either it comes back, all the players that were there before have to play. None of this 20-minute halves crap that's coming out or something like that.
That is crazy.
I mean? Bro, you play the full thing the way it was, or you
as adult football. Put down, not 2 man get a couple of hoodies and put them as the goalposts.
You know what I'm saying? Samba plastic goals and that. Is that what we're doing now?
They're going to use air float balls instead.
These men are idiots. By any means necessary, they want to get it back here without the interest in fairness, without the interest in... What's the point then? So why are we getting it back then if it's not for fairness and to finish the league, bro? What we're finishing for? What? For the money? That's what it is. It's the TV money them man don't want to give back. You know what I mean? But I think that there needs to become a time where someone just steps in and then just throws it in the bin, mate. Because some of the noise I'm hearing is a joke. So I don't think it is a moral dilemma. I think that if the league starts back, then Henderson has to finish the season there. He has to. But then again, he's got a contract. So at the same time,
that's what I mean.
Well, there you go, which is why they have to bin it, bro. I said it already, bro. Like, the contracts run till June for a reason. You can't just say, you know what, you owe me X, Y, Z, because the fact that we're not playing football, that's not my problem, bro. It's just like if I got injured and I've got a contract, you can't not pay me because I'm injured. You still got to pay me, bro.
You see, now this is where it comes into this whole unprecedented circumstances. The way I see it is that life has changed full circle, like with this virus. Normality, what is normality at the moment? We haven't had normality since this started, and especially since we've been on lockdown. And my opinion is that when we come out of lockdown, or as we start to ease restrictions, we're still not going to have normality in any form of life. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, forget football. Let's just leave football where it is. Let's talk about life. When we ease out of restrictions, let's say a hypothetical situation could be, boy, you're only allowed to see a select 10 people. You're not allowed to gather more than that. You're only maybe allowed out at these times. There's not going to be no pubs, no bars, no... Life is still going to be very different. When people go back to work, their workspace would have changed. Like, my other half, she works in an office space, but when they go back, they've got to have staggered starts. They've got to have a rota. They've got to have, people in at certain times, space out. It's going to be a different environment. So that, now bringing it back to football, is also where I'm like, well, football will have to adapt slightly. Don't get me wrong. Coming out and saying,
playing behind closed doors. That's it. That's the only
exactly. Coming out and saying, like, all right, boy, well, because of the coronavirus and that, people might get tired because it's not as fit. Let's do 25-minute halves and all this stuff, or break it into quarters. Imagine say we're just going to do quarters, get drinks breaks. Like, that's too far away. Exactly. But the thing with the contract thing is that I think that there has to be adjustments, because you can't, like you said there, Rand, you can't just go, boom, it finishes on June 30th, so you have to come back. Because at the end of the day, I think for me, there's a way of in court you could do that. But let's say morally and how things have changed so much, I'm like, well, you have to adapt that. This is unprecedented circumstances. Surely in a contract, I'm no expert, there's got to be a clause or a point 2.0 that says in maybe circumstances that the two parties can maybe agree, if they can agree.
But to get to that point, there won't be flex. It's just like when you get insurance, it don't cover natural disasters, bro. Whether it's unprecedented or not, there could be a hurricane, blood. If you,
I don't think United would do that though.
No, but I'm saying if you don't have hurricane insurance, bro, man ain't gonna say, oh, you know what? This doesn't usually happen, so nah, bruv, you're covered or you're not covered, innit? A contract is a contract. Like, footballers will be like, cool, I didn't start this COVID thing, you still got to pay me. That's why certain men ain't taking pay cuts. Why should they? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, why should they take pay cuts? Like, if their bosses aren't taking pay cuts. Like, their bosses are the ones that pockets should get hit first. Do you know what I'm saying? Before
I agree with that.
I've got a contract. And that's just what it is. So, that's just the way it's got to go. If you sign a contract and it's a 3-year contract and it says up till June, really it's down to the players. If the players say, you know what, I don't want to stay here past June, you know what I mean? I've done my contract. You can't really say to them, well, no, you owe us. You don't. They don't, bro. That's how contracts.
Bearing in mind that Henderson will more than likely want to stay, though. I can't see him wanting to come back to the bench.
I believe that Manchester United won't say, yeah, no, well, you can't stay. And then have
exactly. Yeah.
But I think
so they won't exercise it in terms of. So you don't think Man United will exercise it in terms of, Dean, you're definitely coming back because we don't want Sheffield United to be as strong. I wouldn't like to see them do that. I think do you know what I think would happen? I know you're a man without the sentiment in football, yeah. But sometimes I do have a little bit of sentiment. I'll tell you why. I think the way that United have conducted themselves in the interest of fairness and helping and acting like a big club and stuff like that in this pandemic, they asked me on TalkSport, have I been impressed? And I said, well, they're doing what I expect Man United to do, act like a big club. They're supposed to be able to pay all the men and the women. They're supposed to be able to make sure the players don't take pay cuts. They're supposed to be in the community delivering fruit. Like, they're doing what I think my club should do. We've been vexed because Man United ain't been flexing like a big club in football in terms of until lately. But what I'm saying is, if they came back and then said, oh, boy, yeah, don't really want Sheffield United to be that good, you know, we're trying to kind of get Dean Henderson to come back. So I'm thinking, do you see where I'm going with that? Like, do you think that's like a small-minded mentality?
Doing it, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? If you do that, that's a joke. Like, no one can take you seriously after that, because if you're insecure about Sheffield United,
exactly,
everyone needs to go in the bin, innit? Because we're meant to beat them anyway. Everyone needs to go in the bin if you're worried about Sheffield United, bro. We shouldn't even be looking at them, man. Do you know what I mean? As well as they're doing, we shouldn't even be worried by them.
Our mentality should be, we're going to come back, win 8 out of 8. And Sheffield United is one of them games.
Yeah, that's what it should be, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the whole thing where your players can't play against you, cool. That's a rule that's in there. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's up to you whether to exercise it. If they said, oh, he can't play against us, cool. He's a goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? But every other game, I expect man to play. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't think United would say, nah, he can't play. That's ridiculous, isn't it? So I don't see us even entertaining the idea of doing that. I mean, we're bigger than that.
I would definitely love to think that, because that would go against, for me, that would just go against everything that I think we stand for, or we should stand for at least. It is a small-minded mentality, and also I just think that would just be a bit bitter. On paper, officially they could probably do it. They could get lawyers to say, no, you're our player, June 30th, back to Man. Yeah, but that's just going to drag Man United through the mud. And we already seen with the furlough situation with Spurs, U-turn, Liverpool. And I know it's a bit different situation, but in terms of tarnishing the club's reputation, I think that absolutely would. I think that just screams bitterness for Man United. And like you said, the fact that you're so worried about Sheffield United, you want to take arguably their most important player. I don't watch Sheffield United week in, week out, so no offense to any Sheffield United fans if you don't see him as your most important player. But from a Man United point of view, I know how big and strong he has been for them.
Bro,
for us to do that,
clean sheets than David De Gea, innit, playing for Sheffield United, so he has to be one of their most important players.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, I've seen the numbers, innit, when you put them beside De Gea's, and they're better. So it's one of them ones where, like, with goalkeeping stats, like those there's less really they're less obscure than outfield player stats, because you're standing between flipping 2 pieces of metal, bro. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, there's not so much you can do other than stop the ball from going in the net. You know what I mean? So that's your job. So the stats are a lot more reliable than looking at players that play in different positions and have to worry about different things. And when you think that he's playing at Sheffield United and he's putting up those kind of numbers, and against still a world-class goalkeeper, whether or not he's at his best or not, he's still a world-class goalkeeper. Like, you can't disrespect that, bro. You know what I mean? So he has to be one of the most important players, bro. He has
for
to
real.
I'll tell you what, if there were better players than him in that team, you would know who they are.
Yeah.
You would know who they are, Rude Boy.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. There was an article I was reading there, which is mad, about potentially the Premier League going abroad to finish, and it was Perth who came out, because in Australia they've had a very limited number of cases. I think they've had a very, in comparison to the rest of the world, obviously, look, any life lost is way too much, but in comparison to the rest of the world, they've had a very minute amount of deaths and cases compared to here. And they were suggesting that Perth, which is where we just got back from, obviously last summer, were saying that we could host the 9 games. I think Gary Neville was saying maybe the Premier League could look into that. It's a way of filling stadiums over there. Obviously, the players will be tested, so they know who's got it, who's got. Is it a viable option for you? Do you think that could ever happen?
Hell no. Yeah, I'm saying, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? I think that's a laugh anyway. What Perth? So am I going to fly to the other side of the planet, yeah? Just
They have to stay there. They have to stay there, yeah.
And stay there.
Obviously. Not play one game, come back. And
fly to the other side of the planet to fit a poxy 9 games, bruv. Just throw it in the bin, bruv. Like, I've never seen so much effort, for something that ain't really that important in the grand scheme of life, bro. Football's not that important, like, unfortunately. I don't know why people think that football's life and death, bruv. Like, if your team loses the Champions League final, guess what? You wake up the next day and you still have to go to work, bro. Like, it's only football, bruv. Like, in the grand scheme of things, people are actually dying and they're talking about flying to Australia to finish flipping football, bruv. Get out of here, man. That's a joke. I just think that even the whole like, even the idea about it it's embarrassing, bro. Just let it go, innit? Like, it's desperate at this point.
Contribution there. Someone saying, I'm Australian, but that's a stupid, no way, Jose. Absolutely not.
Certain man could complain about the flipping, about the climate and all these other things. Do you know what I mean? It's just mad. And then when you think about, also, they're saying a lot of the lower half of the table teams, I say against the neutral venue thing, because you know what, their home record is what
could keep them up. Yeah,
keep them up. And I don't.
Well, that's the whole thing with the Project Restart thing, because if it's all good, us saying okay, that might look okay. Yeah, all right, that looks like a good idea. If Brighton, Bournemouth, or Watford or Aston Villa go, we ain't doing that. We ain't playing. Then they all have to agree.
If you're one of them teams, that could stay up, and 6 of your last 9 games are at home, bruv, I'm not playing in neutral. Why should I play neutral? You know what I'm saying? When my home form is what keeps me in the league. It don't make sense. Get out of here, man. Like, it just don't make sense. Like, I get it. It's not going to be fair for more people than it's going to be fair for. I think the only teams that really want to come back are Liverpool, blood. Really. You get me? Like, that's what I think it is. And I genuinely believe if Man City were top of the league, they would have scrapped it already, blood. I do. I don't think they would have cared that much if City were flipping 20 points clear. They wouldn't have been saying, it's not fair on City.
Well, because they've done it already.
Yeah, we've won it so many times. You know what I mean? It's another sentiment thing. People just want to see it. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you hear loads of neutrals, you'll be like, I don't mind it. You know what I mean? It would be nice to see someone new in it. No.
My thing is this though, and this is from looking at it from another point. This is just food for thought, My thing is that, all right, 100%, there are more important things than football. 100% agree with that. And I do think the motivational factors for football returning is money. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that.
I think the French government gave all the teams in France over 200 million or something, just to kind of make sure they were cool,
then you like the payments to help them out.
But then to do.
Exactly. But then what I'm saying is that I look at the practicalities and I think like I was saying to you before, how the world's changing, and that how should football change? And if say we start to ease lockdown in this country, let's say this is hypothetically speaking, in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, we're past the peak and stuff. The deaths are coming down, rate of infections going down, the capacities in the NHS and the hospital beds are going up because there's less people in there. If schools start going back, to school, because you're saying to kids, cool, we have to start trying to get something back going again. If you're saying to small businesses, obviously you need the money, let's start going back under these circumstances. Why can't football make adaptations to come back? That's my in terms of why can't it?
Blood. Adaptations in Australia, don't mean.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying the Australia thing. I'm saying about because the whole scrap it thing. I 100% get why people are saying it's just void it, just leave it. And like you said, there's a hell of a lot of effort going into this 8 or 9 games. But then I'm seeing, and I know it's for entertainment purposes and money and stuff, because some people were saying that they need it to come back because obviously some of these teams might not survive this as well. Like they need to start bringing football back in some capacity, even some of the Premier League teams.
Bro, they're not going to be getting ticket gate receipts anyway, so they're not going to be making any more money.
No, but they'll get the TV thing because all the games will have to be on TV if they come back, like all of them. So your likes of Bournemouth will make money.
But that's what I'm saying. The easy way to sort that all out is the government to just give them the TV money, so they've got it and then done. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what they've done in all the other.
But even when football does return, then, and this is another thing, when like we're saying wait, which I get, but say because I know there was this infatuation with this whole September thing. Say like, how do we know for sure? This is just for sure that in September, because we're still going to be practicing social distancing in society, let's say, because we're not going to open up loads of things. We're not going to open up stadiums. If the players are coming back in September, they still have to mark each other from corners. There's still going to be sweat flying everywhere. If they come back in January, there's still going to be sweat flying everywhere. So there's still going to be a period where people don't know what's going to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. To say, but the sweat and that
we're never going to know for ages.
The sweat and that is not really the issue, isn't it? It's just the touching and the joke.
But they're saying it's because of social distancing. They can't social distance in football. You've got to get touched out and mark a man.
You know what I mean? With the football, because when you're outside, you're less susceptible anyway because it's enclosed spaces anyway. And then on top of that, if they said, you know what, we're going to separate the players, so we'll have like one squad in 2 different changing rooms so they don't have like 15, 20 people in one room. Cool. They could do that. Do you know what I mean? When you're out on a pitch in an open space, you're less susceptible to it anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's cool, isn't it? There's ways they can do that, and then they could play it behind closed doors. They could do it that way. There's loads of ways they could do it. However, you've got between now and September to plan for it. Do you know what I mean? Right now, these men are just winging it on their feet just to get it back, and they're not thinking about it.
What if they have their plan? Well, to be honest, I reckon they've got their plan, but like they just can't say anything about it or implement it because the government still have us under lockdown. As soon as the government starts to ease it, they will come with a plan. Like this project restart, they've got the plan. They've got it.
If they had their plan,
they just haven't been saying it.
We wouldn't have been hearing so many different flipping things coming out from XYZ. These men don't.
But see, this is why I agree 100% in terms of when Gary Neville said, "Look, even if it might not be the correct answer or whatever, at least like have press releases. Yeah, at least let people know because what is happening is we're seeing loads of different mad analogies or scenarios coming out." Drip feeding, this leak, that leak, where no one really, I think the Premier League should have come out in this time and said, obviously we're under lockdown. However, this is what we propose as and when it's safe or as and when the government are allowing players back to training, which they've been too scared to do that. Gary Neville's been saying it. A lot of other players have been saying it. And you can see with the government, that's what they do. They're looking to kind of drip feed things into their, let's test the waters. Let's see what people how they react to that. Oh, shit, that's been a bad reaction. Oh, pull the plug on that. Don't want to look too bad. No one really wants to take full accountability because it's a place where we've never been before. You see what I mean?
By the end of the day, like, they just, if in doubt, look at what everyone else is doing, innit?
But it's half-half. Germany about to come back next week. So in Italy, they're starting training. Spain are turning.
I reckon they're not playing next week, bruv. Man said what?
The government said yeah. The government said yeah today.
9th of May, they said. Yeah, we'll see in it next week.
I think it could be the 15th, but it's been confirmed they're back.
We'll see if there's football on the TV, in it. We'll see.
You don't think the Germany will be back? I think they'll be back.
I don't think they're going to play. I think.
All right, this is a question.
But I don't think they'll be playing.
If they come back, if Germany comes back, you look how badly Italy was hit. We ended up getting a higher death toll than them, but look how bad it was for them as well.
Yeah, but
Spain. If those leagues come back, for real, if those leagues come back, could you see the Premier League following suit?
Yeah, absolutely. There'll be nothing to stop the Premier League if they see other people playing because they just want the money in it. That's what it's about. And as you said, you said that all these cases are individual and that, and you're saying we got a higher death toll than Italy. So if you got a higher death toll than them, then surely that should mean that we should be taking more precaution than them. In theory, innit? But that's not what's going to go on, bruv, because this is money driven, innit? And Italy's like one of the most corrupt footballing nations, bruv, on this planet. So, of course, they're coming back. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. And the Germans dealt with the whole thing efficiently. My sister lives in Germany. My nephew's German, bro. So I know how the Germans dealt with it. And they dealt with this thing like bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, they were good, yeah.
Sorted, bruv. Everyone.
But I'm sure they were offering to take people from other countries to help.
Bro,
patience in that, yeah.
Bro, they're serious, bro. Like, everyone got their money. I'm telling you, yeah. Within 3 weeks, every German citizen got their money, bro. They got their check. It's not a thing where people are still waiting for this money that the government promised them. All the Germans got their money. Within free, even the self-employed people got their check. Like, that's how the Germans were moving. So because of that, they can say, yeah, I'll take people because they're efficient, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? The whole Italian thing is a money thing. This thing here is a money thing as well, bro. That's what it is. They don't have an answer in it. Like, none of this Australia crap. If it's not safe to play it here, then don't play it in it. I'm not trying to see flipping games in Perth and that. Like, Like what is that, bro?
Oh, yeah, I went to a game in Perth. It weren't too bad.
Yeah, but come on, Premier League in Perth, bro.
Yeah,
It's their pre-season, cuz. Like, man are playing for their futures and they're in Perth. Get out of here, man. Do you know what I mean?
Also, what you got to think
They're saying.
about traveling. The thing about traveling is obviously, heard someone say on the radio that what? So you think that the other countries should be able to go be like, well, we haven't had that much problems, but I tell you what, you come over here and maybe infect us or bring it into our country. But then with that is that the players are obviously going to be tested. It won't be for our fans to go over there. It'll be their fans who are already out there. You could look at it that way as well. That you know what as well. Sorry, just on the football thing, yeah. Going back, if you deep it, yeah. If the footballers were to return, yeah, they would actually be going back into one of the most controlled / safest return to work environments that there could be. Because the man or woman at work who has to work in the canteen at the school, or versus the man who works in Tesco, versus the man, they're not getting tested like how the footballers are going to get tested, and everyone's going to know exactly.
And that's a moral issue in itself, blood.
Exactly.
There's people that work in hospitals that ain't getting tested, yeah, but these men are getting tested first, bro. So then that's another moral.
But I think the argument with that is by the time that the football did come back, when they were going to roll out these tests for the Premier League, they were very clear that this wasn't going to take tests out of the mouths of NHS. Like they were doing it completely separately, so that, like you said, the care workers are getting tested.
What are they making it themselves then? Because they were even saying to us, yeah, if you don't need masks, don't wear them because they're running out of them and they don't have enough for the actual essential workers and stuff like that. So where are these men getting these things for? Do you know what I'm saying? What are they man chilling with like Prince William and that, and what they making them?
They're making them in their own factories.
Bro, they man chatting rubbish, fam. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, wherever there's money to be made in it, like people will always do what they need to do in it. That's what it boils down to. It's not
definitely comes down to money. I do think that
it's not down to safety. It's not down to human life. It's all about money. If one of the footballers end up getting coronavirus, yeah, and dying, yeah, at the hands of the FA, then what happens then?
But what happens if we wait till September when everyone's said and then the player comes back and gets it? I'm saying if you think about it,
is, bro, like that ain't our problem. You know, like that. All I'm
because it can happen. Because it can happen at any time.
These men are not covering all bases, innit? Like, because if it can happen at any time, then why isn't football back already then, bro? With that attitude, because my attitude is like, boom. Even when they let us out the yard, like
we can go catch it.
Man can still go catch it and die because this virus ain't going nowhere, you know.
100%.
They're never getting rid of coronavirus. People are still dying of foot and mouth disease, blood. Like these viruses don't go away.
And flu, so exactly.
They don't go away. More people died of the flu in America than the global death toll of this whole coronavirus thing, the normal flu. So don't get it twisted. This thing isn't killing more people than other things that we have. It's just the way it's spread. That's more dangerous, bro. Like,
and that's why I think this line between when to return back to some form of normality is very split. And almost what it's turned into, which I don't like, it's ended up kind of turning into like, what side are you on? Like, I've seen it on social media, almost like it gets political. Like, if you choose Labour, you're this. Or if you choose a Conservative, you're that. If you choose Lib Dems, you're this. Almost like if you want people to play football, you're deluded, you're this, you're that. How can you think that? Versus if you don't want people to play football, but when is it you're this, you're that? It's turned into that. And that's weird how that's happened because at the end of the day, it is all about safety. Well, it should be. And it's no irony that the 3 leagues that haven't returned are almost the 3 most lucrative that are looking to wait. Germany, Spain, and England.
Money, bro. And you know what it is, yeah? The reason why I'm just like either everyone goes back or no one goes back, because what about Champions League? So what happens? PSG
have said we will play. Obviously, they'll have to leave the country.
You can play in the Champions League, but the problem is you're not going to be training, bro, because your season's done. So these men are going to be with their family.
Well, not even it's not training. They'll probably be training, but not playing.
They'll be living their best life, bro. And even if you're not playing, you're not. There's a difference between fitness and match fitness, bro.
Exactly.
Like if these teams are playing in their league and they're sharp, and then you come up against them and you haven't played a game in 4 months, you're getting pammed. I don't care how good your players are. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why you see a lot of teams in pre-season end up losing to like non-league teams and stuff like that.
Yeah, you ain't got your rhythm. You ain't got your match tempo. It's whole different thing.
You don't have it yet. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just don't think it's fair. Then PSG could turn around and say, "Oh, we would have won the Champions League this year, but we ain't been playing." Do you know what I'm saying? There'd be bare buts. Like it's like everyone comes back, no one comes back. I don't like this whole disjointed thing. Like,
yeah, it'd be nice if there was one blanket across all of the
it
football
shows that
info
nobody
coverage.
has a plan, and it's just down to how much money is to be
Or
made.
is that a reflection that the virus is different in different places, though?
Not really, because if it is, yeah, it's more down to population and that than anything else. That's all it is. It's a numbers game, bro. You know what I mean? When we look at the percentages of the deaths here, which I haven't, but I'm saying if you look at the percentages per head and stuff like that, you'll find they're probably not going to be too madly dissimilar. Do you know what I mean? Or even if our death toll is higher than Italy's, yeah, but I bet our percentage is lower though. Do you know what I mean? So there's just, bro, we got 65 million people in the UK, for God's sake, bro. This place is massively overpopulated. So percentage wise, we're not even at 0.5% deaths. We're not even at 0.05% deaths. So do you know what I'm saying? It's just all,
in comparison to the population. Yeah.
It's all relative.
To finish off on this, guys, drop your views in the comments in the boxes. Let us know if you think obviously there should be a resumption of the Premier League, or should in fact it should just be voided because it's too much stress, it's too much effort just to play the 9 games, to scrap it. And then if it is, scrap it. And Rants, before I move on from this, I know you said just leave it where it is, but would you leave it where it is and then Liverpool get the title and teams go down and that, or would you leave it where it is and just we all have to start again?
No, you have to. It's not fair for teams to
Cool.
go down.
Yeah, thought so.
Money they'll lose, brother. And certain teams, we all know how hard it is to come back up to the Premier League once you go down to the Championship. There's certain teams that have never made it back up. We're Leeds, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's not easy to do. And I don't think,
Forest, Sunderland, Charlton.
You see teams with games in hand. Do you know what I mean? Bradford, all these teams like Sheffield Wednesday, bruv, that were in the Premier League when I was a kid, Middlesbrough and that, they're not here now. Do you know what I mean? So it's not easy, bro. So
cool.
there's no way I'd relegate a team, especially when they got games in hands and all of that. I don't think it's fair.
Okay. Smash a like on the video if you haven't done already, and share the video. Make sure you subscribe. Over 1,500 people watching live, which is fantastic. I just wanted to talk about a couple of comments that were made about Ravel Morrison now, kicking on.
By who though?
Well, there was a few. One by Rooney, one by Gary Neville, one by Rio. They were all kind of praising him in their own different ways. Basically, Rio said on the Beautiful Game podcast, shout out those guys as well, doing great stuff. He was basically saying that, when he saw Ravel, he was just insane. In that same team that was with Pogba and Jesse and stuff like that, and Will Keane at the time, and all the youngsters that were coming through at the time that were good. But Ravel was head and shoulders. Obviously, Pogba was in there as well. Rooney said in his, I think it's his Telegraph piece that he does, I think it's the Telegraph anyway, that Ravel Morris was head and shoulders above all of them. He said he was better than Pogba even at that time. Like, he was sensational. And the reason that he didn't make it was because of his attitude and stuff like that. Gary Neville kind of disagreed with Rooney and says, I don't think it was down to attitude or lack of work rate, to be honest. I think that Ravel had some significant complexities and challenges in his life that any of us would have found difficult to deal with. And ultimately, from that point of view, obviously meant he has not quite achieved what he should have achieved. And that kind of feeds into, I don't want to just make excuses for Jesse Lingard, but when they, like, even Troy Deeney was saying to me, when he's ready to talk about what's going on or what's gone on, it can affect these guys. But Ravel, I know you know him quite well. And hopefully, in the future, hopefully we can get Ravel on and try and talk to him about this, because it's a really interesting story, because he's literally been plagued with that brush. Ravel Morrison used to be sick. Chit attitude.
Yeah,
now
but
rain, same thing. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of people just tarnish him with
it's
that.
Easy for people to do that. For people that don't know him, ain't met him, don't know nothing about him, bro. And they do it a lot in the media. Do you know what I mean? And in football as well. Like, because the thing is, in football, once you're blacklisted by one manager, everyone kind of treats you the same. No one wants to touch you. I know loads of players this happened to, just because they didn't get on with one manager. Now nobody wants them, and it's nothing to do with ability. Ravel's different gravy, bro. But obviously, he had certain things going on in his personal life, and also he had a manager like Sir Alex Ferguson that just wasn't going to tolerate it, bro. That's all it was. Like, I just think that when you look at Sir Alex Ferguson's history as well, players that he can't control, he doesn't really like them, bro. You know what I mean? That's why him and Beckham ended up kind of having the thing, because he didn't like man's wife and he didn't like the fact he was doing this. Fergie likes his players to settle down young, have kids, and just stay in their yard, innit? And Ravel Morrison's life was just way too wild, didn't it? Ferguson just said, you know what, you need to get out of Manchester because madness is going on. And fair enough, innit? And I just think he never had the right arm on his shoulder, bruv. I don't think he ever had the right manager to say, you know what, do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, you got stuff going on, but like you're my guy, innit? Like, and I think he needed that, bruv.
Well, you know, it's really interesting. I'm comparing this to how far are you in The Last Dance? Have you watched every episode up to date yet, or you?
Brother, if you're talking about Phil Jackson and Dennis Rodman, yeah, that's exactly.
It's the same. It's the same thing, innit? Because but anyone who hasn't seen it, Rodman's basically saying halfway through a season, bro, I need to go to Vegas and just blow out.
That's why I say Phil Jackson is the greatest coach of all time for me, bro. Just
brilliant. To do that at the Bulls and then go and do it at the Lakers after that as well. It's crazy. Bro.
To be able to manage Kobe's ego, yeah, to manage MJ's ego, yeah, and to manage Mavericks like Dennis Rodman and all that, bro. Like,
Shaq, yeah.
It shows the level of man management. Do you know what I mean? That guy had to deal with, innit? And that's what I'm saying with Dennis Rodman. Like Phil Jackson's probably the only coach that could have said to him, you know what, you can go away.
But I would have went a complete different way if you don't have that manager at that time.
You turn around and say to him, what do you mean? You need a holiday? Nah, boom, boom. He just implodes, bro.
But you know what? I was talking to someone about it as well, which is weird, because if that was to happen now, imagine Luke Shaw, right, came and said to Ollie, I need 4 weeks out. And it's not just for mental health problems, it's to go and rave it up in Magaluf. Because that's what Dennis Rodman done. He's like, go Vegas. Let's not decorate it up like it's some. I just need to stay in my house and just meditate and chill. I need to go on a bender, and he went and did all kind of drugs and alcohol, and it's a different period now.
No, that would never. It'd be more like Martial, someone more important, like, do you know what I mean, to the team, like, because Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, all right, Martial then.
Like Dennis Rodman is like the equivalent of like Harry Maguire, bro. You know what I mean? Because like,
the destroyer, defensive, solid. So say Harry Maguire comes out and says, Ollie, I've been struggling in the first year playing at such a high level at this club. I need to go to Ibiza for only 48 hours because I need to go on a bender and I need to have loads of drink. I need to smoke cannabis. I need to just let it out of my system. And I promise you, I'm going to come back in 48 hours and I'm going to be sick. That's not running in today's game.
And to be fair, he came back and done it. Like, bro, like America's just different, innit?
Not in 48 hours, though. Not in 48
hours. He came back a week later, yeah. But he came back, yeah. Now, I mean, from what I remember, he didn't miss a game. Do you know what I'm saying? And he came back, and in training, he was still outrunning everyone. So certain people can do that.
Yeah, he was.
Like literally, like I've played ball with certain man that used to come to training drunk, bro, and just be mashing man up, like proper. Do you know what I mean? There's some ballers like that, man, just turn up drunk and it don't matter. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. This man management, if you know your own player, and that's what one thing Saleh was good at, was the man management in terms of the psychology, bro. You knew how to speak to who, innit? Like Giggs would say, you would never give Nanny the hairdryer because you knew Nanny was soft.
Yeah, he's a brilliant man manager. Yeah, brilliant.
He would stick it on other guys. You know them ones. He would stick it on Rooney because he knew that Rooney played better when he was angry. Like, there's certain guys, like, bro, that's what he did with Rodman. He was like, you know what, bro, I know this guy's a maverick. And they said, like, you can't.
But Ravel Morrison was saying on TalkSport, I think it was yesterday, he was like, when I look back, there's loads of things, obviously, I would have done differently, but I feel like now I'm in a position where hopefully I can still go on and achieve what I haven't reached my potential yet, but I still believe I can. So he is taking ownership as well, because it wouldn't have been all Sir Alex just going.
It comes with age.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When you're young, you've got the wrong people around you, which he did. Do you know what I mean? And then you don't have an arm around your shoulder as well. Like, it doesn't help. There's too many distractions. Like, even when one of my guys was at West Ham and I went down there when Ravel was there, and there were people from Manchester down in London, bruv, like, still around him. I'm like, bro, like, you're down in London. Like, you don't need to have these men around you. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And we were meant to link up and go Nando's and that. And then in the end, he didn't come out because the guys from Manny come down and he ended up and he couldn't even link, man. So it's like, that's what it's like, bro. Like, when you got,
there's loads of things that affect maybe how you got to look at your circle of friends, your support network, your life experiences.
As well. I heard the same thing about Luke Shaw. Don't get twisted. I heard there was bear man living in his house that didn't need to be there, and eventually they got kicked out. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
especially when they're young though as well, because that's another thing. When you're transitioning, and that's what I've been talking about lockdown and that. Like, because you know when Aguero was basically done that piece with BBC when he said, you know, I know a lot of players that are scared to come back and play. You know, we've got families and stuff like that. You ask Mason Greenwood and Brandon Williams, are they scared to go back and play football? Would they be cooped up? They're not scared. It depends on where you are in your career. It depends on your personal circumstances. The young players who literally, I think Brandon Williams, I read some, I don't know if it's true, apparently went back to live with his mum and so far so there, because it's like, you know, he's 17, 18. You forget that these guys are just kids, and they're going to do, you know, they're probably used to going out and raving it up and getting girls or chilling with the fellas and whatever.
Or scared, bruv. And to be fair, like, bruv, even Pogba lives with his mum. He's 27, bruv. Like, it is what it is, isn't it? Like, the bottom line is, the younger players without responsibilities are like, whatever, innit? You saw Declan Rice and Mason Mount were at goals. They didn't give a damn. Do you know what I mean? But if you're 31 years old, you've got 4 kids, and a wife, bro, you're not trying to go back to football. Yeah. And then what? Bring it home to your wife and your youths, and then one of your kids is on an incubator or something. Nah, get out of it.
And that's the difference, isn't it? Maybe they bring the lead back and say only under 23s.
So you know what I mean? I just don't really know, man. I don't really know. I don't think there is a wrong or right answer. I think it just comes down to someone being brave and making a decision and saying, you know what, no matter what happens, June the 30th, we're starting this league back. And then someone just has to be ready to take the pelters. I feel like no one's got the bottle to make an executive decision. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what it comes down to. So they're waiting to see what everyone else is doing because they're scared. That's what it is. Like, they're worried about the backlash. But someone just needs to like get a bit of bottle and just say what's happening one way or the other.
There was the last 15 minutes I wanted to use to do this. I thought it'd be interesting. Mark already did it, but I wanted to do it with us as well because we've never actually been able to do it, which is like a little tier. You know that little tier system? Yeah. You put the players into different tiers, right? Yeah. So the tiers are awful, not great, average, decent, and elite. Yeah? Okay. So let's start off in our team. Okay. So let's start with the awful category. And guys in the comments, you guys get involved as well. Who would be in the awful category?
Andreas Pereira for me. That's the only player that goes in awful.
Okay.
I think he's our worst player, bro. Like by far. Like, I don't see what he offers.
Okay. What about Phil Jones?
No, because Phil Jones on his day,
great.
Like Phil Jones on his day, like, do you know what I mean? Like, Phil Jones can give you a solid 3 games. It's just the 4th one you have to worry about. You know the one. You know, like that. But Phil Jones can give you a solid 3 games. If someone told me, yo, like, Maguire's injured, man have to play Phil Jones and Lindelof just for 3 games, I'm not really that worried. It's when he gets a run of games where I'm like,
the comments are going off. Everyone's saying Jones, Phil Jones.
That's an agenda thing, bro. Because the funny thing is with Phil Jones, whether we like him or not, he has more good games than he has bad games. That's a fact, bro. When you look at the numbers and the stats, he does. He has more good games than bad games, but the bad games get memed. No, he doesn't play. That's why. But the bad games for Phil Jones get memed, blood. That's why. Because remember when Smalling was here, these same men were disrespecting him, and now they want him back, bro. Like, they were saying how rubbish he was, and now they want him back, bro. Chris Smalling was getting ridiculed just as much as Phil Jones when he's way better than Phil Jones, bro.
I think Jones. I think Jones. There's a reason why Jones has got a reputation that precedes him. You don't get that by accident. And I think Jones in his earlier days, but memes come from shit performance.
But it's the facial things. Even when we won and he does a header, man's face is all here. And then the fact that Sir Alex Ferguson bigged him up so high and then he's turned out to be this mediocre. Is the reason why. Like, Sir Alex Ferguson wasn't saying, this is the next Rio Ferdinand with Chris Smalling. But he gassed up Phil Jones, paid 16 million for the Don when like 16 million was a decent amount of money. And he hasn't even paid back even half of that.
Yeah, I think earlier in his career as well, he had a lot of good performances, and was quite a steady defender. I just think from there it got progressively worse to the point where, to us, he's got to be in that lower category only because, like you said, he don't play anymore. And when he has been asked to play of recent times, and I'm not talking about against Tranmere because that don't count, where he scored. He hasn't been the best, but Andreas, he hasn't. Phil
Jones doesn't make a mistake every time he plays. Andreas does, innit? That's what I'm.
Phil Jones will more have a moment in the game where something mad happens, though. Like,
there you go. But like, literally, like, in terms of what I'm judging, man, for a full 90 minutes, yeah, like more times when I see him play, he has a mistake in him or a stupid decision in him. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll see more good than bad from him. Whereas Andreas, I see more bad than good from him. That's how I'm judging it, bro. Like, as much as I think Phil Jones is washed and I don't want to see him play for us, like, I think that he could go to other teams here in the league. Like, say he went to Newcastle when they got to take over and they signed Phil Jones. It wouldn't be a bad signing, that centre back for a team.
Don't you think? Nah, he wouldn't be consistent enough. Nah, that would be a shit signing, bro. That would be a shit signing.
Bro, if they could get Phil Jones for 5 million, it's a good signing, bro. Man,
is he better than Lascelles? He's not better than Lascelles. I don't even know their others.
If you think Lascelles is better than him, cool, innit? I don't, innit? I think that the fact
you don't think Lascelles is better than Phil Jones?
He's at Manchester United, so the microscope's on, man. Like, the way we're judging man from is a lot higher up, bro. If he was at Newcastle, man would probably be saying, oh, he's a good defender, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? They would be. It's only because he's at Man United, man are like, yo, he's washed. Most of these men are not watching Lascelles every week. You don't know what he's doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're judging a man at Newcastle, it's not the same as you're judging them at Manchester United. Like, these same man pelting Lingard. If Lingard went to another team, yeah, that was maybe like 6th to 8th and that, bro, he could look like a different baller. And all of a sudden, you'd be like, you know what? Maybe there is something in there, bro. When you judge man at Man United, it's different. It's different, bro.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, bro. You went out still, but you're here now.
Are you there? Don't know what happened there.
I'm here, bro.
Yeah.
You kind of disappeared and
okay. Yeah, on mine, yours just disappeared. That's never happened before. Yeah.
Okay, but no, I just think that honestly, Phil Jones is not good, bro. You know what I'm saying? But when I say, I wouldn't say awful, blood. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm more worried about Pereira starting in midfield than I'm at Jones starting at centre back. That's for me personally.
Okay, cool. I don't know what happened there. It just went off. I don't know what happened there. It came back. Let's finish it off quickly in case the stream just messes up. Let's just go through a bunch of the quick players. Wan-Bissaka, elite.
Yeah, you'd have to say so. You'd have to say so.
Yeah.
I can't think of many better right backs in world football. So yeah, he's
Luke Shaw.
What are the tiers? Just go through the tiers and I'll tell you what players go in there. That's the best thing to do.
So
elite, start at elite, yeah. Start at elite, yeah. We'll say Wan-Bissaka,
yeah, elite,
definitely. Yeah. Pogba, definitely. Bruno, definitely.
Yeah,
and that's it for elite.
Okay, cool. Then you've got decent.
But decent.
That sounds awful. Let's say good. Let's say good / very good.
All right, good / very good. Then Martial, Rashford, with De Gea.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Fred?
Yeah, Fred actually. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot him. Yeah, Fred's in there.
Yeah.
He's in the question, yeah.
Okay, and then if we've got very good, we're gonna have to have good.
Yeah, then in the good.
Okay.
Then the good okays, that's where the McTominays come in and the Luke Shaws come in and them man. You know them ones and them man there. You know what I mean? Even in
Lingard, where does Lingard fit
in? In the good, just in the okay. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Just in the okay. Do you know what I mean? And then I think is there a level below okay?
Yeah, that's awful.
Oh, okay. I can't have Dan James at the same level as McTominay though, bro. For me, he's below.
What if we add in prospect?
All right, cool. We'll put Dan James there because he's between awful and okay for me. I don't think he's okay. I don't think he's the same level as McTominay and them, man. I don't think he is.
Do you think he's a prospect?
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Prospects don't always do it, mate. Do you know what I mean? Most of the time they don't. Do you know what I mean?
Ask Theo Walcott. Yeah, I hear that.
There you go.
Actually, Lindelof. Where's Lindelof?
Okay. I think we've got a lot of okay players. You know what I mean? We'll have more in that okay bracket than anywhere else.
All right, cool. Which is why someone said good okay is not good enough. That's why we haven't been winning titles.
But there you go. I've been saying that, and people have been saying I'm negative, bro. But it's a fact. Okay is not good enough for Manchester United, bro. We can have 3 or 4 okay players in the squad, maybe 5 or 6 in a squad, or 15. But man can't have 11 okay players out of a 15-man squad, or 18-man squad, or 22-man squad. I don't know what United 22-man squad. You got 15 okay players.
I don't know what you mean about you being negative. That's not you, mate. You've never been negative. I don't know what people see.
I haven't. I just been real, fam. Do you know what I mean? But real's negative, blood, until you don't win anything, blood.
Yeah, I hear you. We've come to the end of the show. Thanks to you lot for watching. Nearly 2,000 people watching live, which is good. But Rants, big up the socials and the channels.
Yes, at Rants and Bants on Twitter and Instagram, and yeah, Rants and Bants official on Twitch as well, boy. I'm streaming Red Dead Redemption 2 now, boy. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah, we're onto the cowboy and Indians thing.
Yeah, boy, I'm gonna do that today still, man. Like I completed the GTA story, so now I'm just doing Red Dead, and then I'm still playing Fortnite with the guys, boy. Got the new Star Wars skins as well, but I've been on that. So
this guy, you're fully a games guru now as well.
Yeah, bro, I'm on it, bro.
Love that. My Flex UTD across all of the socials as well. Check out my channel, The Flex, as well. Content going up on there also. And also Flex Fridays, you lot know where I'm at. Flex UTD on Instagram. Come and join me 7 p.m. every Friday. Maybe there won't be many Fridays left if lockdown gets lifted. I don't know. But
Thursday,
we shall see.
That they're gonna tell us. If they say another 3 weeks, bro, my head is gonna be hot.
Oh, listen, I don't feel. I think because Sunday apparently Boris is going to do a big address to the nation, and Thursday they might start telling us that and the other. So
start relaxing certain things. I think certain people are going to be allowed to go back to work, but then they're not opening schools. So then who's going to look after the kids? It's all like.
So it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, right, guys, keep safe anyway and stay well. We will see you guys same time, same place next week. Peace.